What's going on, everybody? It's Ango, and today I am bringing you guys some very big WWE 2K16 news. But before I get started, I do want to let you guys know that if you check out my channel, you guys will see all of the latest WWE news, TNA news, Lucha Underground news, and everything else that goes along with pro wrestling, as well as WWE 2K15 gameplays. We do a Raw post-show live on the YouTube channel every Monday Night Raw. So after every Monday Night Raw, you guys could check it out, and we review everything that's happened. So definitely don't want to miss that. Check out my channel, youtube.com/AngoYT. But now for the good news, the stuff that you guys have been waiting for. This has been talked about for the past week on the internet, and today I am bringing you guys this video because I really just want to get as much information for you guys as possible, because I definitely don't want to mislead you guys when it comes to WWE 2K16. Now, this has been something that has been confirmed by Sasha Banks, but she did reply to a fan on Twitter saying yes, she did get scanned into the game. Now, WWE 2K16 is definitely going to evolve into something a lot larger than 2K15, because we have already seen a glimpse of career mode in 2K15, and now WWE bringing in more superstars, a better roster, and more of a story mode designer. I feel like we're going to see some very big things for 2K16, and bringing in Sasha Banks, who is the current NXT Women's Champion, is definitely a good start. And the reason I say that is because we have seen a minuscule roster when it comes to the NXT division in 2K15. Yes, we get Rusev and Bo Dallas and Adrian Neville and Sami Zayn and Corey Graves, but 3 out of those 5 people aren't currently in NXT, or they weren't even part of NXT at the time they were put into the game. So it was Corey Graves is an NXT announcer, so he really wasn't actively fighting under the WWE ring apron. And then, of course, you have Bo Dallas and Rusev, who were already on the main roster for several months before the game even came out, or even before WrestleMania 30. So the big thing is, in this situation, is now we're going to see something a lot larger for 2K16. Sasha Banks is definitely a start, and you really got to ask yourself, who else would WWE games put into the game in terms of a roster? And a couple names that are floating around with these rumors, they haven't been officially confirmed by any 2K sources, but they have been confirmed by many different anonymous sources. But Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and Bayley are supposed to be 3 of the NXT divas in the WWE 2K16 video game. So if that is in fact true, we're going to see a pretty nice Divas roster, because at some point, we're going to see AJ Lee in the game. We are going to see the Bella Twins, Paige. I would assume Emma would be in the game. Alicia Fox. We're going to actually have a stacked Divas roster, which is something we don't see too often in the video games in these past few years. At least with the Divas division, they haven't been used in the video game as much. And obviously, having Sasha Banks in this game gives a clear direction that WWE Games is really going to focus on WWE 2K16's career mode, as well as the implementation of the NXT developmental division. So if we do get Sasha Banks in this game, which she has already confirmed, as you can imagine, more NXT divas would be a prominent thing. Now, another thing that has been circulating online that hasn't been officially confirmed by WWE Games or anybody from 2K Sports is the fact that when you play career mode in 2K16, you will actually be able to create a diva, which I don't think that was something you can do in 2K15. I could be wrong, and if I am wrong, please correct me in the comment section down below. But I believe you were only able to make a male superstar, and I think at this point, this would actually be a very big deal if, in 2K16, even if you were able to use a diva in 2K15, I think in 2K16, if you have more divas, I feel like, the game would be actually a little bit more substantial when it comes to story design. Having a story in career mode, with the Divas division, you could be a valet at some point, you can wrestle, you can go for the title, you can go back to developmental. There's so many different ideas. Now, the big thing is, with Sasha Banks being scanned into the game, is that she was strictly just scanned into the game. So for what we know right now, she hasn't done any voiceover work. We haven't heard of any, reenactments for cutscenes or anything like that. So at this moment in time, it just seems like WWE Games only has her face in the game. So we don't know if, 2K16 career mode will have cutscenes, or we don't even know if she will be a integral part of the story designer, because generally in this case, if they were, if there was some sort of story to go along with it, they would actually capture some voiceovers, which was something in 2K15 that we did not see, unfortunately. When we played 2K15 career mode, you had to watch the text float up on the screen, and I think that was kind of an excuse, but that was WWE Games trying to get out a game on time. So in a situation like this, for all we know, Sasha Banks has not done any cutscene footage or any voiceovers for those cutscenes or for those stories. So this leaves a lot of questions in the air in terms of whether or not what we're going to see in the future in the game is going to be an improvement, or if it's going to be the same situation. Now, a lot of these reports, like I said earlier, have talked about Charlotte and Bayley also being into the game, and that's a very big deal because obviously not only would it be a better Divas roster, but as you can imagine, for if WWE were to bring back story mode in terms of designing a story, custom stories, Divas play a pretty good part of it for anything that is entertaining. Now, I don't know what WWE 2K16 will actually include, but having Sasha Banks in this game, having NXT, having a custom story mode designer, I think that's a very, very key part, not only for what we do as YouTubers when we play custom stories or when we create them and let the community download them, but I think just in terms of the overall game, it would be a very big deal, because I think especially with the NXT roster in next year's game, you have to assume a lot of the bigger names will be back in the game, but also some new names, maybe Baron Corbin or Mojo Rawley or whoever else it may be. So obviously having a custom story mode designer, there's a lot more stuff that you can do, and that's why the Divas roster is important, at least for YouTubers in a sense. What we do, guys, when we play simulation matches or when we are doing custom stories, Divas, at some point are involved with WWE, whether or not we like it. So we might not play with them, as like a constant reminder, for online gameplays or for, just for fun, but we do use them, we do utilize them. So having Sasha Banks in the game is definitely a great way to expand that roster. And I think that's definitely an important piece that, 2K16 should really be focused on, is more so of the roster and giving more to the fans. 2K15, we saw so much stuff taken out of it, and unfortunately, I paid $60 for that game just like many of you did, and I don't think it was truly worth that amount. And the reason why I say that is because so much of the fun stuff was taken out in order to make a realistic game. Now, this, having Sasha Banks in the game actually gives me a little bit more hope for the future of the game, because when you look at the development of the game, this is something that's been important, a roster that's actually good. And obviously having a big NXT name like Sasha Banks, who wasn't even anywhere close to being ready for 2K15 last year, when we see something like this, we got to understand that now we're going to have a bigger and better roster to work with. And actually, one of the cool things that has also come out of these reports is that WWE will implement the past, the present, the future. And the future is obviously NXT, through career mode. And I think one of the great things is if they do decide to do a DLC at some point, or if they actually have these members of the initial roster, I think, having fantasy matches of bringing in, Charlotte and being able to play as Charlotte, but also being able to play as Trish Stratus or Alita, I think a lot of people can do so much if there is, universe mode or, custom stories and stuff like that. So I think there is just so much more potential within the game's future itself, that Sasha Banks, already being included in the game is a very, very neat situation. Now, a lot of these reports were actually, at some point, they've kind of included other potential names from the NXT roster that would be in the game. And I do want to share this with you guys because it hasn't been reported on either, but it is expected that we will see Tyler Breeze in the game as well. The main idea is to bring Tyler Breeze into the game and implement, his selfie technology as a custom entrance. So I think that's actually also really another cool thing. If you have a person come out with an iPhone and, your Titantron entrance is what you're capturing on your iPhone, and I know this doesn't have to do with Sasha Banks, but once again, it just has to deal with the NXT roster being implemented into the game. Tyler Breeze, being in 2K16, having that entrance would be a very big deal for people who like to create custom superstars, who've never had that option to do a lot more with their character. And I think, having Sasha Banks is one thing, having Tyler Breeze is another, but there are so many other talented people on the NXT roster that at some point, this might actually be the best wrestling video game roster, and that is something that we haven't been able to say in a really long time. These past few games we've seen some pretty nice rosters, but they seem smaller, or we've seen duplicates of Triple H and The Undertaker and The Rock, and I don't think that really works out for the best of what we do on YouTube, you know what I mean? But that's just my opinion, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And if you guys have any other opinions or anything, guys, make sure you guys share them also on social media, because I do read Twitter, and your guys' feedback and opinions mean a lot. So we're going to conclude today's video with one final question, and I want to know what you guys think of Sasha Banks being in WWE 2K16, and what is your guys' potential roster? What is your guys' dream roster for WWE 2K16? Leave that comment down below. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.